Hey guys, this is Bruce. Welcome to ConvoCourses. And today what we're going to be talking about is a couple questions that I got. And before I start, I want to let you guys know that I have it. Wait, let's fix the screen. There. Okay, there we go. I have been asked if I'm doing Discord. And Discord for me, I'm still messing around with it. Honestly, I've got too much chaos going on my own personal. I've got these other Discords and stuff. Too much stuff popping up there. So what I'm gonna try is if you go in the description in this video, you'll see what's called ConvoCourses discussions, and go there, and that's where we can have more one-on-one type discussions. Let's just try it out. This is my first time using this particular feature of the site that I use, so I'm going to go ahead and try it out. So go ahead and try that out. Any questions that you have, any kind of conversations we can have back and forth, more direct conversation between you and I, and that's what we're going to do it at. So you'll have to log into the site ConvoCourses to do it, to talk to me directly, but it'll be a more one-on-one type session if you have any questions, and as I get more instructors on here, they'll be able to talk on there as well. Go ahead and talk to me on there, and like I said, the link is going to be in the description. I don't have any content on there. This is the first time you're hearing this for the first time, so if it gets big, that's cool points for you. You'll be able to say, well, I was there when Bruce first created that thing. There's literally nothing there yet, but I will be putting stuff there. So contact me. You can also just leave comments. I do read my comments on ConvoCourses. And for those of you who have my email, you can email me. Problem with emails, I get so many of them that sometimes they get lost in the shuffle. So I'm trying to figure out some way that we can talk more directly. That's not just on email, not just on YouTube, but also directly on the site. So go ahead and try that out. Links in the description below. All right, let's get into this. Somebody had a question for me, and I'm just going to go ahead and read this question. If I can remove my face, here we go. All right. They said, find remote work in IT. So this person is looking for remote work, and they have no experience. And they said, first of all, thank you so much for the information you share. I've learned so much by watching your videos, and I also purchased your Risk Management Framework ISO Foundations course, and it's such a great help. I've been trying to get into cybersecurity for 2 years now, preferably in ISO or SCA, which is Security Control Assessor role. I have my Security Plus, CompTIA Security Plus, and I am working on my CAP. I'm in community college, working on my degree in information technology, and should graduate next year. In the past, I've worked as a CNA, a security officer, for the past year and a half, and I have a shadow mentor with people in ISO and SCA roles. I have also done a lot of self-study as well as cybersecurity boot camps. I tried applying for jobs. I haven't had luck, and I want to ask if you offer a discount for your resume course, and if you give me any advice with my job search. I live in Maryland, and there's so many job opportunities around, but I can't seem to get any. Please help. Okay, let's start from the top here. So first of all, yes, I will definitely give you a discount. I just need your email, and just let me know directly. And if you have my email, just send me an email, and I can give you a discount. All right, you're on the right track. All right, I want to be very frank with everybody. Okay, so cybersecurity is really hard to break into as an entry level. The reason why is because it's multidiscipline. So to get into cybersecurity, they're expecting you to have basic knowledge of things like Linux, basic knowledge of course, Windows as an administrator, basic knowledge on troubleshooting, basic knowledge on networking, and sometimes even some software. So they're expecting you to be like a jack of all trades, but a master of cybersecurity. So that's the first thing I'll say. So cybersecurity itself is hard to get into because there's so many other things they're expecting you to know. Okay. That said, you're on the right track, because what you want to do is, number one, you have to have a common body of strong understanding of the common body of knowledge. All right. Number one. And you're on your way. You're going to school. You're actually taking time on your own, doing self-study. You're taking mentors. You're taking courses. You're doing boot camps. So you're solidifying the common body of knowledge, and that is the best. That's the first step I tell everybody to do. So you're doing it. So you're serious. That is good. You're on the right track. Okay. Now the time is your next step is to get experience. Because experience is what, and I'm just being completely honest and real with you guys. When technical recruiters are looking for people, they're looking for experience. All right. That's what they're looking for. Now, if you happen to be in college right now, if you happen to be pursuing that degree, you're out there self-learning, then what you want to do is try to get some kind of experience in there. And one thing you can do if you happen to be in college is go try to volunteer your time to help out to, say, secure the staff computers. Sometimes they'll have jobs, internships, and work programs where you can actually get credits and get paid from time to time. I know the college in my town, they had a program where they had work credits. Like, you would work, they pay you, and you get credits at the same time. Now, this is a program that you had to apply for. You had to put in an application and stuff. But the school understands, hey, this person is new. They need experience. Look for programs like that if you have them in your school. All right. And if they don't, ask the instructors, ask the staff. Don't be afraid to go and ask the staff, hey, I'm looking for experience. I want to get my feet wet. I have been studying on my own and been taking I'm in my third semester here. I already know about programming. I already know about Microsoft. I already know about Linux. I want to help you guys to secure systems. Is there anything I can do? Right? You'll be surprised how much they're willing to help you out. And they may even have a program. So if you happen to be in college, try that out. If whatever organization you're in, try to volunteer your time to the organization. Now, that's an important key, because if you're just trying to fix your auntie's computer, you can't put that on your resume. You know what I mean? But what you could put on your resume is that you helped out Good Faith Church to hook up their access point. You could put that on your resume. You could say, so what I'm saying is, get volunteer work at an organization. Get the experience from an organization so you can then put it on your resume, because they're looking for experience, years of experience, really. And basic IT is where you're going to start. Okay. So that's the first thing. I just want to be completely real with you about how this works. And once I explain how they find you, it's going to be like a light bulb goes off. All right. Now, let me see if I answered every part of this thing. Purchase the ISO. Okay, good. You're going through school. Good. Okay, great. All right, you have mentors. This is good. Now, let me just explain to you what I would do, knowing what I know now. Now, I've been in cybersecurity for, I'm going to date myself. I know I don't look it, but I've been doing this, or maybe I do, since 1995. I've been doing security as a whole. I started off in the Air Force doing physical security, and then I cross-trained in 2000 doing not cybersecurity, but IT stuff. I cross-trained into it. That said, you're a security officer, so some of the basic knowledge that you are learning as a security officer or physical security officer can actually be counted as experience, because right now what I do is assessments. I'm a cybersecurity consultant, and one of the assessments that we do is a physical security check. Now, that I draw from my own, years of experience in actual physical security. I was a police officer, and I did security work in the military. So I have a strong understanding of what to look for when I'm doing physical assessments. You can use some of the security. You said here, I'm looking at your this message you sent me, that you have experience as a security officer. Yeah, there it is right there, security officer. Yeah, you could use some of that as your experience for knowing how to secure IT systems. It's not enough, okay? That's just one little tiny piece, but you can use some of that on your resume. And you can explain, I know how to perform physical assessments. I do it for my clients all the time. When you do walkarounds, when you do those physical security checks, which I know as a security officer you have to do from time to time, that is one of the things that you have to do. One of the things I do on actual assessments for physical, for my job. CNA work. So you might be thinking, well, CNA has nothing to do with IT, nothing to do with information systems. No, it does, because as a CNA, my wife's a CNA. As a CNA, you have to learn HIPAA laws. So HIPAA laws is a protection of patient information, for their health information. So that's one, it's a tiny little sliver, but all those little pieces and parts are what you can put on your resume. So anytime you've ever done any kind of HIPAA training, you've gotten HIPAA training, anytime you've had to protect records, that's something that you can put on your resume. And actually understanding HIPAA, if you take the time to go back and read through HIPAA, and then you'll be able to say, yes, I have implemented HIPAA. I'm very familiar with HIPAA laws. I took this and that HIPAA class back in about a year ago, and I'm still up on HIPAA standards. So that's something you can put on your resume, and that will help you out quite a bit. And also, working in the healthcare environment is something you have experience I don't have. I've not worked extensively in the healthcare industry. I know a little bit. I've touched a little bit of HIPAA stuff, but not extensively. You know the terminology. You know how the structure is. You know how it is to work in that environment. That's another thing that you can put on your resume. Okay, so right there off the bat, you have some things that you can put on your resume. But now let me go back to this discussion here. Now, if I could do this all over again, knowing what I know now, how would I start? With your same level of experience, where I've not had a role in IT, what would I do? So there's more resources now than when I was just coming in. There's a lot of resources, and I'm going to point you to some. This is some that I use quite a bit. And let me show you here. This is LinkedIn. Okay, if you're not on LinkedIn, you got to get on LinkedIn. Okay, so LinkedIn is one of the best ways to get noticed by employers. All right. It is essentially it's a social network where you can, it's a job aggregator. There's also a social network, and it works pretty good. What you want to do is you want to put your entire resume out there on LinkedIn. All right. Your entire resume. This is what you're looking at is my profile on LinkedIn, and it's filled out. You want to fill this out with all your experience. This is how people will find you. This is my real experience, by the way. Real places I've worked. This is my real. You're looking at how this right here. What you're looking at is how I've gotten a couple jobs. So you want to put yourself on LinkedIn. But LinkedIn has more great things that you can use. Okay. You want to find an entry-level position. So here's one of the ways you can do it is just type in entry-level IT. You will find it. Now, these don't pay as well. Like this one right here. Look at this. This is a entry-level IT technician in New Jersey, and it's paying $16 an hour. That's terrible. That's freaking awful. But what it does do is it's going to get your foot in the door, because what you're looking for is not necessarily the money at this point. You're looking for that juicy experience. That experience is what's going to get your foot in the door for the next step. All right. The experience is what you want. So you can put that on your resume. Once you gather that experience from this job that's only making barely over minimum wage or whatever it is, you want to focus on your cybersecurity. You want to highlight your cybersecurity experience. All right. Now, this is not to say after working 6 months here or 2 months or here or whatever, a year here, that you're going to instantly be able to go get a cybersecurity job. That's not what I'm saying. Okay. What I'm saying is this is one step in the right direction. You would get an entry-level job. You'd work there. It's not going to pay super well, all right, unless you get lucky. There are jobs that do like some of those, the jobs that have a high level of travel. Those jobs, they usually pay a little bit better. And then some jobs that are shift work, sometimes they'll pay like you'll be working more hours or whatever. It's brutal, but you may make more money off of those. Anyway, so what you want to do is use this experience as a stepping stone, all right? And then put that work that you worked at Insight Global for 8 months, and then you would then list all the things you've done. You updated 500 Windows laptops for the organization. You updated all the McAfee EPO devices. You updated all. You assisted with the firewall implementation. You created X amount of accounts with secure passwords. You assisted with policy. So you want to list all the things that you've done there, right? Because this is a stepping stone in the right direction. This is not overnight success. This is not get rich quick by any stretch of the imagination. This is a career, all right? This is something, let me just tell you, IT and cybersecurity has allowed me to travel the world. It's allowed me to take care of my kids, take care of my extended family, start other businesses. This career saying it's changed my life doesn't explain what it's done for me. It is my life. That said, it's afforded me opportunities that I would not have otherwise had. All right. This career path, if you happen to be stumbling across this and you want to do this, it's worth it. Now, your other question for me was that you wanted to actually work remotely. That's the whole reason you're doing this. Okay. The great news about IT is that a lot of ITs, especially now after coronavirus has hit, are more open to remote work. But a lot of times they have to know that you're willing to that you can do the work. If they know that you can do the work, and that means you got to put in the hours, you got to prove it with your experience, you will get more offers and have more opportunities to do remote work. And if you're willing to travel, then you're going to have more opportunities than other people. And you can find them all here. Remote, like, watch this. You go here, you type in remote work. You'll find remote jobs here. You'll find remote work. Look at this. Here's one in Ukraine, all over the world. And that's the great thing about remote work is that you can do it from anywhere. Now, sometimes one thing you want to be mindful about is that many of these jobs, they say it's remote, but you have to be like this one in Ukraine, you probably have to be in Ukraine to do this. You know what I mean? It's remote, but it's remote around the corner, or it's remote in another city in Ukraine, So I'm just saying some of these jobs that say remote, you can be remote, but you have to be a citizen of the country, or you have to be in that state or whatever. So that's just one of the things. Some of them are truly remote and it can really be worked from anywhere. But I'm just kind of putting that out there that sometimes there are rules to remote work. Typically, though, for remote jobs, you need to have experience. And I'm just trying to build you up one step at a time. Now, if you're willing to take the steps that you've already done here, this is showing that you are serious. These are the kinds of people, just so anybody else who happens to be watching this, who is in another career path. You're a teacher. You're an administrator. You're in a CNA. You're in a hospital. Whatever work you do. Okay, and you're looking at IT and you're looking at cybersecurity, and you're like, my God, this is hot. These people are getting paid. This job's not going away. More and more people are all of us are becoming netizens. Like, everyone's online now, and it's not stopping. It's just going further and deeper into us being some sort of integrated digital society, right? And that's what's happening. Good, bad, or dystopian, that is what's happening right now with humanity. That said, we need more people to protect this data. There's a huge need for it. But the need is for people who are in this as a career. This is not something you can really do and make money partially. You have to be pretty in deep, pretty embedded in this, because it's very involved. And so this person right here is showing the level of dedication that it takes to get from here to there. This person is saying that they have gone to school, they're taking courses, they're studying on their own time, they're seeking out mentors. This is what it takes. This level of dedication is what I put in to get to this point in the very beginning. I knew it was going to blow up. I knew how important it was, and I liked it. It was fascinating to me, like magic or something. I wanted to learn it. I was hungry. This right here is the level of effort that it takes. This right here. So if you are interested in this, you're looking at the level of effort that it takes to get from here to there. Now, let me just show you a couple more things here. So if I was new, knowing what I know now, I would use LinkedIn. All right. I just showed you one trick of finding the jobs. Up to you to kind of dig into these. Another great tool is LinkedIn. You can do the same thing I just did. You saw me do with LinkedIn. You could do it with Indeed. Did I say LinkedIn twice? Anyway, you can do it with Indeed.com. Indeed.com is a great site to do the same thing. Another one is Monster.com. Great site to post your resume. Speaking of the resume, so as an entry-level person, one of the first challenges you're going to have is your resume. And that's why I emphasize the importance of doing the work, of having the experience, because this is the main thing that they look for. What do all these things have in common? Before I move on to the next subject here. The one thing that all of these things have in common, somebody call me, hold on a second. The one thing all these things have in common is that they have an algorithm. And that algorithm is looking for experience. It's looking for keywords embedded in experience. And that's what I'm trying to show you. You're trying to hack the system by using the keywords that the system is looking for. These algorithms are looking for. All right. And so that is the name of the game. All right, guys, I got to take this call, but what I'm going to do is I'll be right back on, and I see some comments on here. I will be answering those. Give me a second, okay? Test, test. Okay, I'm back, guys. Sorry about that. I got to pick up my wife from the airport soon. I couldn't. I had to take that call. All right, I got a couple questions here. Elsa says, "Hey Bruce, I took one of your RMF courses. Great videos. Question: to be an ISO assessor, do you have to be a very technical person? Thank you." Okay, so an ISO assessor. So there's many different kinds of assessors, and usually assessors are very deep in one or more disciplines. Do you have to be really technical? Yes and no. The reason why I say that is because it depends. It depends on what kind of assessor you are. Being honest here. So, for example, if you happen to be an assessor who assesses networks, you have to be super technical. I mean, you have to practically be a CCNP. Like, you have to be very technical. You really got to know all of the types of vulnerabilities of an iOS system. Probably have to know multiple systems, not just Cisco, but Juniper and Palo Alto. Probably have to know some firewall stuff, IP chains, IP routing, because you have to know what to look for. And you also have to know how to use scanners. Like, you have to know how to read scanners. Like, you have to be super deep for that. Now, the reason why I say yes and no is because on the no side, you could be an assessor who looks at documentation. So now, typically, assessors are kind of like jack of all trades. Like, they know what to look for with policy, and they know a little bit about scanning. So they usually know a little bit about each thing. But the best assessors are ones who are very deep in one or two areas, I've noticed. And there are assessors who are not super technical. And I've met them. I know this because I've been in this field for a long time, and I've known some who are not technical. And those ones usually are focused on policy. They know. Now, that said, they're very deep in risk management framework. They're very deep in, they've been through the whole process before. They know what to look for because they've done it. The process consists of getting an organization certified. So these are people who've done that before, and so they are a little bit technical in that you can't BS them on, or you probably could, but you'd have to really know what you're talking about on firewalls or on networking stuff or whatever. They're not super deep on that. Maybe they've never been a firewall administrator they don't know. They're not deep in that area. They're not deep in networking, but they are super deep in policies. They've written policies before. They've gotten organizations through assessments. They know standards. They know how risk models. They know those kinds of things. So yes and no, I would say. Now, to get to the assessor, to become an assessor, you have to have a lot of experience. Now, whether that's experience in being a cybersecurity person for years and years, or being a network engineer for years and years, typically these are people who have been around for a while. Now, I did know one guy who didn't have my last job. Just to kind of give you context, I did meet one assessor who didn't have a lot of experience, and it was the first time I'd seen it. So my last job, they hired a guy who had a bachelor's degree, and he had a security plus, and maybe a couple other certifications, but he wasn't very technical. I noticed. I know he wasn't technical because he would ask questions that I could tell you didn't understand what was going on. And we worked with a lot of technical people, very deep technical people, like a super deep firewall person and super deep networking people. And we had to work with them to create these documents. But this other coworker of mine, he wasn't technical, so he'd ask these weird questions, and then the technical team would come to me and ask me and say, "Hey, what did he mean by this?" And I'm like, he probably didn't understand it. The difference between routable IPs and non-routable IPs, something like that. He would ask these questions that he should have known, like had a basic understanding of this technical stuff, but he didn't. But this guy they'd hired him from, and I'm not trying to talk mess about this guy or anything. He was a smart guy. He was a very hard worker. He was a good guy. I'd work with him again. But he wasn't technical. He was coming from an assessor. He used to be an assessor. He was an assessor for a couple years, I think, but he wasn't technical. He was purely policy. And I've seen a couple guys like that in risk management framework who did not have a technical background, who only knew policy, who only knew risk management framework, who really knew how to do documentation, who are very hard workers and stuff. So it is possible. It's pretty rare because I haven't seen it very often. I personally haven't seen that. Doesn't mean it's not being done, because these days we need so many people that you're seeing a lot of weird stuff nowadays. So we need people. I would say that if you're trying to do risk management framework, the more you know technically, the more experience you can gather, the more you'll understand about the technology we are trying to protect. The more you understand, the better. Even if you're going to be purely documentation and that's your plan, the more you understand, even if you're let me just take it a step further. Even if you plan to do program management, which is managing programs, and they're not technical at all. Okay. Even if you're doing that and you're doing this for system engineering work or for IT work, you should sit in on. You should try to understand what networking is. You should try to understand Linux. You should actually sit at the command line. You should actually learn as much as you can about the technology and the information that you're protecting. You should. So that's just my 2 cents, because I know a lot of people are trying to get into this because it's not super technical. They don't have to know, they don't have to be super deep in all this technical stuff. They don't have to be a hacker and all this stuff. And I appreciate that. I think that's cool that this field is opening up to where you're not having all these freaking brainiacs in here. But at the same time, you should know as much as you can. You should understand as much as possible so that you can better protect assets and information and information systems. Okay, that's it for that one. Let me answer a couple of these other questions. Lynette says, in coming across internships that require experience, I want to become a pen tester. How can I get experience on my own? Companies are asking for experience even on internship levels. Yeah, good question, Lynette. Let me just put my 2 cents in. All right, this is just what I have observed, especially in the pen testing field. Pen testing is they expect a lot of pen testers. I mean, I know it's not fair, but let me see if I can give you some visual understanding of why this is. Pen testing is, you have to understand multiple aspects of IT to do pen testing. And so the people they tend to hire are people who've been in IT for some time. Because pen testing, it's like an art form. I know it sounds corny, but it becomes like an art. And what I mean by that is, if you have done something for a very long time, after a while, it stops being about the steps and starts become more about taking things that you've seen and riffing off of. You ever seen a musician, like a jazz musician? Like, it's one thing to know the technical basics and know all the steps and the stages of pen testing and all that kind of stuff and what you're supposed to. It's a whole nother thing for that musician who knows how to play. They know how to play really good. It's a whole nother thing to improvise and go off on all of the. If you've ever heard jazz, like Miles Davis, when he's playing, he's improvising a lot of the stuff that you're hearing on an album. That was his genius, is that not only did he know, like, he mastered the basics, but he could improvise off the top of his head because he had such a complete knowledge of what is supposed to happen that he could take it and do some Pablo Picasso type stuff off of it. Have you ever seen a drawing by Pablo Picasso at 15? It was perfect. It looked like it was like a very realistic person's face. And then he started doing weird stuff like, I'm gonna draw the emotions of this person. I mean, what does any of this have to do with with pen testing? What I'm trying to get at is that typically they're looking for people who understand the IT well enough to where they can see patterns where other people otherwise would not. And that takes experience. That takes seeing systems get attacked. It takes seeing a real system in real time get taken down, and being in the organization that's been, it takes seeing that. It takes protecting, and it takes the experience is going to allow you to build off of the knowledge that you already have, you've gathered, and then start to improvise and see patterns where other people otherwise would not. And so what I'm trying to bring up here is things like the MITRE attack framework. So this right here, I don't know if you could see. Yeah, here it is right here. So this right here is some of the attack methods and techniques that adversaries use. You're probably already familiar with this. But when you start to see these in real time, some of these most of this I have not seen. I'm not a pen test guy, so I'm really not the right person to ask about this. I've just started getting into this kind of stuff. That said, I did work in a SOC for a couple years, and in the SOC, I seen systems get attacked. I seen what it looks like. I seen systems actually get owned. I've seen, and so. That gives me a little bit of insight into what I'm looking at here. Techniques such as lateral movement, how somebody gets into the system and then is able to move from this server over to this other server, or from this account and then use this account to manipulate this other account. These right here gives you an idea of the depth of knowledge they're expecting you to have in pen testing, and you only get this from experience. And so that's why they're looking for people with experience. And so you want to start off from the bottom, which means working as an IT person, just a regular IT person, and getting to know and understand what's going on. As a regular IT person, I mean, when I say regular IT, what the hell does that mean? That's a customer service person, servicing tickets. You actually, from time to time, you'll see somebody's system get owned. And then you're part of the initial incident response team that has to figure out what's going on by looking at the logs. That's great experience. It shows you how the organization is supposed to respond. It shows you it's like detective work. You're looking in the logs, and like sometimes you don't see anything, but you're looking at it and seeing, okay, what time did it? You're trying to figure out the timestamps of when this system got owned. Did they wipe the audit trails? what other logs can you use to figure out when, before they even got to this system, they had to traverse the network? So what logs can show you how they even got to the system that they owned? There's so many different levels and layers to this that that's what they're looking. They're looking for people with enough experience to see patterns where other people otherwise would not. And the only way to get to that, well, usually the way to get to that is experience. So answer that part of the question. You said, I want to become a pen tester. All right. And how can I get experience on my own? Okay. How can you get experience on your own? One of the things that you can do on your own, I'm working right now with a freaking really good teacher who teaches Capture the Flag. Capture the Flag is this little game that hackers play where they set up like a secure system, and then there is a flag or a bit of code or data on that system that you have to infiltrate that system to get the code, and that's the flag. You got to capture the flag. You got to grab that code off of that system. The only way to get it is to hack. Capture the flag exercises is a great way to practice on your own. Another way to get some knowledge on this. Now, this is not speaking of experience. Experience, you got to get it. You got to get into an IT role, a customer service role. Get in there and start to just learn in a large environment. That's the kind of experience that they're looking for. Experience on your, knowledge on your own. Let me show you a couple tools. There's one called Hack the Box, which has Capture the Flag stuff. We're actually working on a Capture the Flag that we're going to put on ConvoCourses. But in the meantime, while that's being developed, this right here, there's a free portion of it, hackthebox.eu, and then there's a paid portion of it, depending on how deep you want to go. This is not going to give you experience. Well, yeah, it gives you experience, but can you put it on your resume? I guess you could find some creative way to put it on your resume, like saying that you are familiar with this or familiar with that, or skilled at this or skilled at that. But you can't, it's not going to have a huge impact on your resume. You want to be in the field, and the only way to do that is to start from the bottom. Start from where you're at. If you happen to be already working at a Lynette, if you happen to be already working in a bank, or already working in some industry, you might even want to ask them to see if they have IT roles that you can get in there and start gathering that experience, because that experience is what's going to be a stepping stone for you to go into the paths that you want. Now, here's the thing. I know people do not want to hear this. They do not want to hear about having to start from the bottom. But the thing is, when you get in these IT roles, a lot of times they'll have opportunities. They'll pull people from their own pool of workers. And they'll say, look, okay, guys, we need somebody to help with this pen testing. All right, we need somebody to help out tonight with the firewall. Can somebody stick around and work with the firewall team? Hey, we need somebody to help out with the policy. I know as a policy guy, you know how many times I've asked my team to help me out with a policy? So many times, because I don't know what the technical guys know. The guys in the weeds, the firewall guy, and I'm like, hey, firewall guy, can you? I've written out this technical explanation that I have to deliver to the managers. Can you look this over for me? And sometimes they'll have the presence of mind to actually rewrite it for me. They'll be like, okay, this is a little bit inaccurate. Let me write this here. Let me put this here. And they'll help me out. And they can literally put that on your resume and say, hey, helped out with the risk management framework policy, helped out with this or that policy. And that would help them if they wanted to get into it, could help them to get into risk management framework. So my point is, when you start from the bottom, when you actually just get a role in IT, other opportunities will present themselves. And you getting into this pen testing stuff and knowing, doing hack the box, knowing capture the flag, getting into this stuff, you will be able to recognize those opportunities when they come if you're interested in this field. All right, guys, that's it for this one. I'm going to get off here. I'm going to try to do more of these. And again, if you are interested in talking to me, I put the link in the description below. If you have deeper questions that you have for me, you can go on that link and start asking questions there. You'll be one of the first ones to interact with me there. I've not got any content there, but I will. I'm planning on putting some content over there